Boom.
Hola, hola, mi gente. How are you?
Ooh, I'm like a kid in the candy store
Happy
today.
Friday. Oh, thank you. Oh, that's so sweet. That really warms my heart. Thank
Yo, thank
you.
you. Thank you. Because,
Oh man, thank
well,
you. I appreciate the love.
because without you, there would be no podcast. So there would be a podcast, but it wouldn't be quite the same.
Vice versa. That's how I feel about everyone who has been a great support and has shown love. I think everything that we do in life, we don't do it alone. And, I don't think enough people really can really do appreciate that or understand it. So it's always with great gratitude. It really is. Anybody who takes a second of their time just to, show love or give support is always is deeply it deeply does affect me because I know how, hectic life can be. So for you to choose to make a choice, a conscious choice to want to be a part of the journey and the vision is fucking awesome. Oh, excuse my language.
Oh
But
no,
hey,
no.
listen, you give it unapologetically. So that's what I admire about you is, when I always say preach, brother, preach, you speaking your truth and not enough people out here are doing it. And you can do it without behaving uneducatedly, behaving trashy. Just speak your truth. Just be your authentic self. You know what it's
Mhm.
not enough. There's not enough authenticity out here. We're human. Everyone is flawed. And to pretend that you're not, it's just it's an illusion. You're delusional.
Yeah. Because too many, what got a lot of people out here that tap dance and put on a show, and that's not who you really are. My thing is
Exactly.
if you're gonna curse, okay, curse, but also know that there's a time and a place to do it.
There you go. There you go. And I think sometimes people don't know how to filter, their actions or their words. And it's okay because, we're all growing and evolving, but at some point you got to make a decision that you're going to evolve and you're going to do better. And I think that's what a lot of what I think a lot of what you talk about is just that is, for us as a people, as a culture, to do better, be better, to evolve. It's okay that, X, Y, and Z is okay, but where do we go from there?
Right. That's why one of the things I had, like I said to myself, starting out in this whole podcasting thing, this whole blogging thing, whatever you want to call it, I was like, okay, like where do I see myself? Like, am I going to be able to interview people, or am I just going to be a guy on the microphone? And my first interview, believe it or not, was with a actually one of my really good friends from high school who is now like she's one of the dopest DJs. She just ain't local. In fact,
Nice.
she was on Sway in the Morning. I want to say earlier this year or late last year.
Can you say her name?
DJ Lady Ruck.
Nice. I've heard of her.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's
Nice.
yeah.
I always love that. I always love, well, I'm all about, the female. I'm all about empowerment um as a people, period, as a movement. But when it comes to women,
Hmm.
obviously, because, I'm a woman and, I grew up
Right.
in a certain era and, we're of a certain age. So it always really warms my heart when, women can make waves and find a place within male dominant industries.
I was gonna ask you that because that was my second question. I was going to ask you.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
brother. You already know. I mean, you've been watching me, and I know the exact time well, at least I think I know. Well, I recall the exact timing of our real first like real in like our interactions through social media. and I started
Mm-hmm.
watching you because I recalled the place where I was physically at the time. And it just, it's just really, it just is a really awesome thing to see where someone starts and where they at presently in the journey. And it's just kind of like, it's kind of like a novel, you know. You're getting to the next chapter. You're an audience to the next chapter of what the individual is doing. So to see you from where you started, and how you evolving, and how you just you know perfecting your craft. It's a beautiful thing. I think it's awesome to give support to anybody who is you know passionate about what they're doing, and that's felt when you speak. And when I first heard you speak, and I was like, what is this? I was like, what is this dude talking about? And I was like, okay, I know what he's talking about. I know what he's saying. He's giving it real. He's giving it what it is. And and just to over time, just to hear how your subjects evolve, and you just and you could see the passion of what you're talking about. You could tell that you really feel what you're saying, and I think that is what is really engaging. If I believe that you feel this, it's not you just putting content just to put content.
Nah, I can't. That's like, you hear a lot of MCs say, I just can't make microwave music. Well, I just can't put out a microwave podcast or a
Indeed.
microwave post,
Indeed.
and I see a lot of folks do that. So when I see folks like yourself, just like how you started, just like I was like, okay, I was like sticks and stones, I was like, But what I love about you is how you just basically, you come out there, you're standing 10 toes down, and
Oh.
then you went straight to Africa,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I was like, oh, now she's in Africa smoking cigars, she's promoting the brand, and to me, in a male-dominated industry, you don't see a lot of women. You see a lot of women, sisters of the leaf, but you don't see them taking that giant step to
Yeah,
go overseas and say, "Yo, I'm going out here to promote." So
yeah.
I'm hoping what I would love to see is more of the sisters
Same here.
get out there and say, "Hey,
Absolutely.
hey, sis,
I just got
let's
chills.
go."
I just got chills when you said it. No lie. I just got chills.
For,
I mean, no, honestly, that's why, I chose to share my journey. That's why I chose to I wanted to be very specific, and um taking everybody along. I wanted everyone who was watching to feel as if they were there with me, and they were experiencing with me, because the sense of like, it was just gratifying, that like, just it was just such a beautiful experience. And I wanted people to feel that. I wanted them to know that you know it's it's all reachable. It's your perception and what you believe that you can reach. I've worked hard from, I have a true backstory, and I know a lot of people do. And I really share certain things of my past, because I don't, there's times where I don't feel that is relevant, because of that's part of my journey. It's not who I am at this present time. You understand? I don't
right,
need. I mean, we if you grew up in the hood, if you grew up not having much, you already have a lot of wit about you. And there's plenty of us who have that type of backstory. So it's, what do you do after that? How do you overcome after that? And that's the story I want to show. That's what I want to show about me. Like, don't get it twisted. I'm a girl from the South Bronx. I grew up when they were talking about red top, blue top, and there's abandoned buildings everywhere. And there's a little hole in the in the building where they doing hand to hand buys, and I'm walking along. I mean, like, you did the best that you could possibly do, growing up, and your family and your parents did the best that they could possibly do. So it's like, how do you overcome those diversities? And what do you want to show that's your story? Your story doesn't
Right.
always have to be the woe is me, you know? To, it's
Yes,
just part
ma'am.
of my journey. And yes, that chapter of my journey surely helped to mold the individual that I am. But that's just a very minute part, you know? And what I choose to show now is I'm a woman of color. I'm an Afro Latina. I'm proud of it. I know my heritage. I know my background. Um, and I want to reflect that we can move forward in a positive light. We can achieve, and we can, and we can gain the things that we want in this lifetime. It's all about your mental state. You talk about the self help literature that you have come across and you read. I think that's all part of the journey. It's you seeking to evolve into the best version of yourself. What does that look like? For you yourself personally. Forget about what you want to show
Hmm.
people, but what does that look like for yourself, for you? And, I've been on a journey for several years. And I think that what people are seeing it's really the outcome of all the work that I've done. So there was once upon a time where I would never take a solo trip. And don't get me wrong, that's not my first solo trip to another country. It's just it was once upon a
Okay.
time where I wasn't on social media, for years. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, for like forever. Everyone would be like, "Oh, you don't got Facebook? You don't got this? What was it? MySpace? That's what it was, MySpace back in the
Yeah.
back in the days, right?"
Yeah. I
I
never
never
had
had it.
that.
I
I
don't
never
even know
had
how that looks
MySpace.
like. Honestly, I know how Facebook looks because I've seen other people's Facebook. I don't even know how to navigate through Facebook.
Right.
I think it was always important to live your life without having to announce it to the world. But I've created something with the help of those who believe in me. And I think that that's worth sharing and showing. And at the end of the day, let's be real. Social media is one of the greatest marketing spaces. I'm gonna keep it honest too. So it's like there's tools there. Use the tools that are given to the best of your ability. And so yeah, so just showing that process of going across the other side of the world, and to an entirely different space and culture. You don't know till you know, and if you haven't been, you don't know. And I think it'll be worth for everyone to take that trip, just to have that experience. Not only it's such a beautiful country, beautiful people, and such a great culture. I think it just gives you a sense of accomplishment when you just take those leaps of faith and diving into your passion, and saying, this is what I want to do, and this is the risk that I'm willing to take. And I'm glad that people, those who enjoyed it, you included. That's what I want. That's exactly what I wanted.
That was like, to me, it's like, you get on Instagram. All right, I'm like, oh, she's live. Let me go check out, see what she's doing over in Africa. But you start just talking about how beautiful it was, even just as you did right now. But we saw that cigar come out, and it was like, we know what time that is. And the way and it was just like, you didn't even have to even talk about it. The cigar
Thank
sold
you,
itself.
thank you, thank you.
I was like, that's marketing. That's marketing
Thank you.
genius right there. And in the whole time, that's what, like I said, I said to myself as I was watching you do that, I was like, you know what? This would be a good time to sit here and say, you know what, Mike, draw up the courage to ask her for an interview
Oh,
when you get the opportunity. Well, because you know why? When you step into this realm of podcasting, and when I first, I'll say the beginning of last year, I started just asking everybody, content creators, because what's funny is with content creators, especially in the foot fetish community, they'll hit you up, they'll send you friend requests, come follow my page, right? But because I'm gonna support you. I want to see what kind of hustle you got. I want to see what kind of marketing strategy you have. So I'm gonna follow your page. Cute feet. If your feet are ugly, I ain't gonna fuck with you. I can't do it. Can't do it. Put some
I mean
socks
that's
on, baby. Get off
real.
the
I
foot
mean
fetish game.
you're being 100% real. That's real. I gotta respect that.
Straight up. Do something else. Do something else. Find another. If you got a talent to sing, I suggest you do that. But hide them dogs. But I put it out there like, hey, you're a content creator. Let's talk about your experiences within the foot fetish community. Nah, I can't do that. But I'm like, but hold up. But you done got a whole OnlyFans page where you popping your
Oh,
pussy.
yeah.
Pardon my French. But hold up. I'm like, you're sending me a link to watch you perform oral sex, baby. You mean to tell me you can't do an interview? Okay, I got you. You're unfollowed and you're blocked. And this is what I mean. And then you talk about nobody supports anybody. No, you're pissed. One, you don't
I
know how to
think
market yourself.
I think it's really important. What I learned is is really important as to who you support. Because what I've learned thus far, you can't support
Bingo.
everybody. Everybody is not
Everybody's not for your
exactly, and it's
journey.
okay. Because you know what, you get into this thought that you wanna support, you know um you wanna be able to give a space for someone to showcase what they're doing, but everybody is not for you to support. Everybody is not in the space where you at,
Nope.
and especially from within marketing, I think it's really important to think about who do you want your audience to be. You know what I'm saying? Who do you who are who's your targeting audience? And sometimes people don't narrow things down. They want to be everywhere. It's okay to narrow it in. Narrowing in doesn't mean that you're leaving people out. What it means is that you understand who's gonna be in your space that you're creating, and it just creates a road of success when you understand who your audience is. So you
Right.
can't support everyone.
Right.
First of all, if someone's putting a message out there that's not conducive to what you're doing, you don't want to support them just because they're part of our culture. Let's be honest about it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
work damn hard. I work damn hard from where I'm at. As a person, as a professional, there's just certain individuals that we're not gonna rock. We not rocking. We just not. You somewhere else, and I'm here. I wish you all the best. I want you to eat, but you just can't eat at my table. You know. I mean, it's 100. I'm being honest. And it doesn't say I don't wish you well. I wish you well, but I'm very I'm very specific in how I expend my energy, and I think who you give your energy to and what you give your energy to is very important. And I'm quite a reciprocal person. If you're giving me love, I'll show you love. And it may not come in the same form as you giving it, but that doesn't mean I'm not showing you love or I'm not showing you support. Um, if you on some If you want something else, then you know what? I don't have the energy, the capacity to come out and say, oh, I'm going to behave that way with you. No, I just don't deal with you. You just no longer exist. I'm on this island, you on that island. Good
Yeah.
day, goodbye, take care. I mean, life, yeah, life is too short. Life,
That's it.
you learn from me. I always learn that all that anybody could say is no. I'm used to hearing no. No doesn't hurt me, you know. And if you say no, and I
Yeah.
really want a yes, I'm gonna figure out how to convince you to give me a yes.
Yep. I'm just gonna put my. You know what? I'm just gonna put my work, my hard work, to right out there in the
Exactly.
forefront. I'm gonna let you see it. That way, you're gonna
Exactly.
eventually come back around, which is gonna really lead to my next question. So, like, how did you get to this, like, the whole, like, the decision to create this whole brand? Where did it come
Um,
from? What's the inspiration?
so I spoke about this on another interview. I was working with another small boutique cigar brand company, and I was doing events with them, and curating events, and I've been a smoker for over a decade, and I'm familiar with the culture, and
Okay.
I really enjoy curating these events. I also was able to have a first-hand look at what is missing, what was missing, what was needed, and how to bring that in, which a lot of it was, having more women present, so having more women present at the events,
Okay.
having more educating more novice on cigars and the cigar culture. And as I was, working with the the cigar boutique company, I met a lot of people. I got so much good feedback, and I learned a lot. So through that journey, I said to myself, you know, I know what it is to be in a male dominated industry beyond the cigar culture. This is really no different. The navigation of this is really no different. So what is it? How do
Hmm.
you affect the change? It's about being a part of the change, and I have a I
Right.
would like to say that I have a really good understanding of tobacco and the breakdown of the cigar, and how the complexities and the notes, and the flavoring, all that technicality of it. um I actually started to learn more the technicality of it once I started to dive more into the business realm of the cigar culture. But I understood my palate. I understood, you know, um, I understood other individuals' palates by conversations, and just having friendly smokes. Um, so when I was still with that small cigar company, a good friend of mine's, Kendall Word, who actually is part of a
Hmm.
lot of collaborating a lot with my logo work. We were talking about having a podcast, and Sticks and Stones came about because it was supposed to be a podcast. It was supposed to be a podcast about the cigar culture, and you know the educational aspect of the cigar culture, and also just the visual of you know what we do within the cigar culture, as far as an event, the speakeasies, and the relationships that are built and created. So when we was brainstorming, and we came up with the name Sticks and Stones, and we perfected it down, and we both put our input in it. a few days went by, and I received sort of a negative feedback. So the negative feedback was
Really?
because the individual didn't think that I had the wherewithal to make this happen. So
Okay.
you
Okay.
so
Really?
hey, challenge challenge accepted.
So so a
Challenge accepted.
little bit of sexism in
So,
there.
but no, honestly,
Okay.
I took it as a challenge. But aside from that, I was able to visualize it becoming something more. I was like, I want this to be more. It needs to be more because I think it has the ability to be something greater. A podcast is awesome, but I said, how can I take this a step further? And I think that the decision to um, create a brand was something that I've thought about for quite some time. I just I just wasn't in a space where I
Mm-hmm.
had fire lit under me.
Got you.
I'm sorry, I guess we got a little cut off. But it just felt right.
Yeah, that's all right.
It felt right. It's everything that I've ever wanted to do in my lifetime. I visualized it.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives me the feeling of this is this is what I need to be doing. This is what I'm passionate about. Then what else do you need but there? But just a little determination, a little guts, a lot of hard work, and that's what it was, really. It just was really simple, just like that. Nothing crazy. It was just that. When I started the Sticks and Stones page, I wanted to highlight the cigar culture, and I wanted to highlight, you know, um, the inclusivity that I wanted to create by highlighting us as a culture, and also highlighting entrepreneurs and giving a space of support to others and what they were doing. And I wanted to narrow that margin into what I was passionate about and what I was knowledgeable about. So yeah, so when I started
Okay.
Sticks and Stones, it was to highlight the cigar culture for a cigar brand for the cigar enthusiasts. And then it just felt right. It just and then I was getting
Mm-hmm.
comments, from people that I know, like Wanda, when you gonna just do a cigar? Like, when you just gonna do, like, girl, when you just gonna do a cigar? And I was like, hmm. So God sends you messengers, right? I believe that. God sends you messengers,
Yeah.
and I think I got a few of them where I couldn't. I had to listen, and I had to say, maybe there's something to this. And I took a little bit of time because I wanted to know that it was going to be right. And when I felt the moment was right, I approached a good friend of mine's, Felix. He's the previous owner of Harlem Cigar Room. Um, and he has his own lines down, and he has his own wholesale company. He is a wealthy. I'm gonna say you know I would say he's sort of like a mentor um on this journey for me. I have learned a wealth of information from him, and he's just been an intricate part in this. And with his guidance, yeah, I'm able to make this happen. So Oh, yes,
He's been more like an
absolutely,
he's been more like
absolutely.
an
Which,
educator to you.
I'm never above, you know, um, I'm never above being educated by someone, ever, ever, because I don't know everything. I don't pretend to, whether it's cigars or something, some other aspect, and I think an individual who has a wealth of knowledge is invaluable. No one could ever take away what you know. Your knowledge, no one can ever take that away from you. And what you know can make a big difference in how you navigate through life, through business, and everything is trial and error, sometimes. But I think you know, it damn helps when you have people in your corner who could say, perhaps think of this, or, maybe look at it from this perspective, or just flat out give me, valuable information that will help, to guide me, or to propel me. And I am forever grateful for those individuals that I have had and I do have, because they make me better at what I'm doing. And not only that, they believe in me. You know, like we could be out here saying, "Oh, I don't need anybody. I don't want nobody to believe me."
Mm-hmm.
But there's strength in love, and there's strength
Right.
in people believing in you and supporting you, because I'm human, and just like many other humans, I'm flawed. And there's gonna be times where I doubt myself, you know? There's gonna be times you doubt yourself. You doubt your ability, to do something. Yes, we
Well,
could put, yes, I'm a confident woman. I know my abilities to execute what is it that I want to do in this lifetime. However, there will be doubt along the way. There will be
right.
mishaps along the way. There will be pivots and recoveries. And when you pivot, or you have to recover,
Oh
or
yeah.
when you have doubt, there is nothing like having a supportive group, or even one person by your side.
Well, I'm gonna confess something here because like we haven't been going live like we were like all those Thursdays. So
Sorry.
I'm gonna put it out there. My health hasn't been the best lately. I'm a
Yeah.
diabetic. So, I got my good days, I got my bad
Yeah.
days. And my bad days are really more when I'm just tired. So we went live one night and I was fighting. I was fighting to stay awake. I ended up just falling asleep during a live. And, next thing you know, there's a post, so I'm no longer going to be participating in the lives. I'm like, okay, cool. So at first I was a little pissed off, and I started doubting myself. I'm like, I ain't going to do these lives anymore. I'm just gonna. I was even thinking about just skipping all the whole podcasting stuff because I just felt discouraged. But then, but then there's that other side of me. There's Mike, and then there's Michael. Michael kicked in and said, "You fell asleep. We own that shit." Okay, that's number one.
Hmm.
Number two, shit happened.
Absolutely.
Last time I checked, ain't nobody in this world perfect. So let's take a look around and see
Absolutely not.
anyone that you know
Yeah.
that's been rocking with
Absolutely
you.
not.
Are they perfect? No.
I think.
Okay. So take a deep breath. Yeah. So I had to tell myself, I got in the shower. I mean, really, I kind of just said, hey, you know what? I got in the shower that night and said, wait a minute. Pardon my French. Fuck them, fuck him, fuck all of them. Because I'm like, you got the resources right at the tip of your fingers, and you have enough confidence and ability, more than enough confidence and ability in yourself to say, hey, let's do an interview. And that's where I just said, you know what, Mike, forget this being afraid crap.
Yeah,
Say, hey,
absolutely. Like I said,
let's go do an
no
A1.
doesn't
Let's do
hurt
an interview.
anybody. I learned that a long time ago. Or I think that was a lesson I learned when I was a
So,
kid. Um, I mean, all somebody could do is tell you no. And all you need is that one yes. You just need that one yes to propel you. And I think, we all
mm-hmm.
make mistakes. It's how do you recover from your mistake? What do you do after the mistake is made? And people are so caught up to this world of fantasy. They're so caught up into, the social media um chronicles of life, that they don't realize that's not real. The majority of it is not real. I'm sure, I don't know the statistics, but I'm pretty sure the percentage is very minute to who is out there putting content up that is authentic because they want to share, because, for whatever, whether it's therapeutic for them or they want to help others through their story. But a lot of things is, it's a lot of it, it's an illusion, and people get caught up from this illusion and forget that, we are human beings and we make mistakes and we have issues, and, we have a whole life when the camera's off, you know. Um, and I think you just recovered well. And if that particular listener, was so quick to be, so judgmental and harsh, then you know what? It's good that he's no longer a supporter. Hmm.
That's my brother. That's my man. That's my brother. And I was like, okay, cool. And like I told him,
Yeah,
hey, I wish you the best of luck. Moving forward. If you want to go live and do your thing, I'll support you. It don't. I'm not mad at you, but I know me. You basically
that would have been an easy
you're gonna
spin.
tug on
It would,
Superman's cape
it
long
would have
enough
been
where
an easy spin.
I'm
Would
gonna
have
have to
been one of
reveal.
those things like, Mike, you good today? We don't need you snoozing this time. You all right? You need a little orange juice. It would have been such an easy spin to make a. That shit could have been worked into the whole genre, to the whole vibe and flow of things. You know, that that right there would have been some great material for the next live. He didn't. This is what you call somebody who's not a visionary. You gotta you
But
you gotta take what's available to you and use it. Oh, thank
and you
you,
know
thank
something,
you,
I
thank
look at
you.
it now like this going on right now. This is heaven sent. This is really because you know why. But you said it. You said the key word. I wrote it down.
Thank you. Yes, indeed.
Entrepreneur. And I see you as an entrepreneur. I see myself as an entrepreneur. One thing about my brother Sean, I love that dude because 2 years
Good for
ago he came to
him.
me. He called, we called each other up on the phone because he's starting his own clothing line. He's got a dope ass idea. Love it. We talked about coming together and talking about the topics that nobody in our communities want to talk about. So that's how we got together doing live. So the amazing part about it was that you saw four brothers, four men of color on the screen talking about real issues, not talking about big booty Judy down the street, not talking about the ghetto politics. We were talking about things that were like, oh my God, black men really talk about these things. Oh my God. And
Hmm.
when you have that kind of ability to do that and you got a platform to do it from, you take advantage of it. So bottom line is we started talking more and more on the phone about how do you see yourself? He asked me, so how do you see yourself? And pardon me, as you said it, I'm authentic. I said, well, shit, I'm the baddest motherfucker
Mhm.
in the entire universe. I'm the one that keeps the planets in orbit. He was like, okay, I'm just checking to see where your head is at. So
Yes.
taking that
Yes.
attitude, it only attracts the right kind of people that you need to be around. So, not saying it because you're here, but I've said it to you
Thank
on your page
you.
where the entire world can see it.
Thank
You
you.
inspire me to
Oh,
do what I do. But that's just the truth because you're one you're one of so many different, like you're one of many people who I see not just as a sister of the leaf, but just as someone who's out there just in grind mode
thank
that's
you.
looking to change not just your situation, but change the perception of the world of not, and that's something that to me is really dope in itself. That when people get up in the morning and before their feet even hit the ground, the world knows it. The world can tell when your eyes open up, and
Yeah,
it's like,
thank
oh
you, man.
shit,
I appreciate that. Oh, give me
business is
one
about to
second.
commence.
I'm getting dark. I'm getting dark in here. I need to shed a little
So
light.
yes,
Okay.
so you taking that trip to Africa, and my oldest brother talking
Oh
about the
yeah,
things he
man.
wants to do.
You gotta get
Y'all
your
have inspired me to
passport.
want to go
You
out and get
know,
my passport
even if
and
your travel
start doing
starts
some
in your
traveling and
own
seeing the world.
backyard, we live in a beautiful country. I think people forget how beautiful our country is. I think a lot of people, what I learned from my travels overseas, and I've traveled to a few places, overseas. Um, some alone, some
Mm-hmm.
with travel buddies. But the one thing that I learned is a lot of Americans take a lot for granted. They take a lot of what is afforded to us for granted. And I think that there is an appreciation for where you come from when you step out into another country that does not have the same um, rights that you've been afforded to have. When you have the liberties that you have and the things you get to complain about and the
Right.
you know and the feelings that get to be hurt over the minute things, people don't have that luxury in a lot of parts of the world. They're individuals who are really suffering. When I went to Africa, I saw a multitude of um classes. You have these beautiful developed cities, and then you drive out 7 hours out, and you see the way that you see tribes where people are living, how they've always lived, how that tribe has always lived, and they preserve that type of culture. But they're very limited in the resources that they have, and just the state of their government. People talk about our government. Hell no, it's not perfect. Yes, there's a lot of issues. However, you gain a certain appreciation to be able to have a freedom of speech. So yes, we have a lot of things going on here in our country that need to improve without a doubt. That need to be better without a doubt. But we have the space and we have the liberty to be able to raise our voices up, to stand up and take action. There are a lot of places in this on this globe where you'll be shot killed if you even dare to speak out. If you have no voice, you have no space to rise up to fight for your people. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what a lot of travel has shown me. It has given me a greater appreciation of everything that as a American that that is afforded to me that I can take advantage of. And I think a lot of people are walking around with a lot of disillusion of it's all perception. And I think a lot of people have delusional perceptions. And we can't keep, as a culture, we cannot keep um, blaming what has happened. What do you do now so that history doesn't continue to repeat itself? There has to be a type of balance. And I think we're so out of balance as a country. It's either you're left or you're right.
Right.
And I don't usually get into politics. I don't usually like to, dive into that rabbit hole. But everything in life has to do with balance. And I think as a culture, what do you do to do better rather than complain? How do you raise your voice? What is it that you're saying? What truth are you speaking?
Right. Got a good point. You make an excellent point. And I think that and I think you hit it right. You hit the nail right on the head when you started talking about how when you go to another country, you see how they live. We have a lot of rights that other people don't have, and that's why they come here. Yes, they have beautiful countries, beautiful scenery, but some of the laws are so archaic that when they get
Yep.
here, it's almost like, oh my God, like I can do this and I can do that, yeah. And it's like I experienced something last year that was like it was weird. So I work for the school department here as a nurse. And last the 2021-2022 school year, well, 20 yeah, I had an eighth grade student come up to me, and she's Muslim child. She's came up to me. I had a bad day, and she's Mister. I was like, yeah, I need a big favor from you. So I'm getting ready to reach in my pocket
Oh,
because I'm thinking she wants some money. She said, Mister, I need a favor. I was like, yes. Can you come to my graduation for
oh,
me?
oh, man.
I'm looking
Yeah.
at her. I was like, huh? My mom, she said, my mother can't make it. I have no one here. No one can come. So I said, okay, say no, say less. So I said, all right. I said, you know what? I said,
Trust.
I'll even do you something even special. I said, I'm gonna put a suit on for you. I said, 'cause you always see Mr. Mike in his scrubs and stuff. And she was like,
Mhm.
okay. So
Mhm.
as we know in the Muslim culture, the women, even the girls, cannot touch another man. Even if it's unless it's their dad, that's it.
Oh, thank you.
So
Thank you.
you
Thank
don't
you.
realize
Thank
like
you.
the impact that you have on people. Like I just told you, you have an impact. You make an impact on people whether you know it or not. So I would just say this: that when I showed up to the graduation, because sometimes yours truly, as intelligent as I am, sometimes I'm all man. So my wife and two of my co-workers, they're like my big sisters. They're like, hey,
Mhm.
one, take the tickets from the girl because the girl's feeling like you're not going to show up, even though I am the ticket. I'm gonna get in because I work there. I
Oh,
work at the school. So, but I was like, oh, I said, give me the
oh.
tickets, and
You showed that
and
you
she's like, oh
you
my
gave her
god, to see
support.
this child. But then I showed up with flowers for her. I showed up with a bouquet of flowers. So as I walked in,
Oh.
yes. Well, that's the thing. My coworkers, they saw me coming with this big bouquet of roses, and also they also saw me suited and booted. That was like, I was like, don't touch, don't touch the thread. Like, nah. But she's like, she wasn't there when I got there, so I was like, oh man. But when she showed up, I gave her the flowers, and instantly you could see it starting to get choked up. So I was like, I said, keep your composure. You got to get through the graduation first. I know. At the end of the
Oh,
graduation, everyone's dispersing. You see the parents shaking hands, and some of the parents find, oh, you're the Mr. Mike, and you're like, yeah, yeah.
that's
But
beautiful.
she came over to me with another student, and she didn't say anything to me. She actually just walked up and gave me a hug,
Yeah, that's
and
beautiful. Yeah.
everybody
I
was
think at
like,
that moment
she's
she
not
seen
supposed to
you
touch you, and she said, I
as a
know.
father figure, not
And
someone that was, you know, just this man, a nurse, but she saw you as a father figure at that moment, and you made an impact on her. Your kindness, um, you was doing it from your heart. You wanted you didn't want her to be alone, and not have support for that day. But for her, that was everything. That's something she would never forget. And I think, and just that bit of kindness to have such an impact on her. I think that's what it's about. Because that's something that she'll never forget. That's something, that would invoke, you know, something within her to want to pay it forward at some point in time. And that's a beautiful thing. I think it's a beautiful thing. It's hard. You got to show up for kids. You have to show up for them. I think it's really important. I don't know, why, she didn't have, her, her parents or her family there at the time. Who knows what the circumstances is, but the fact that, you were there and you showed up. A lot of times it's just showing up. It's just being there and saying, and as adults, we need that. So as a child, is so much important that helps to shape them, as individuals,
but that
to have people that they know they could count on, they have their backs. So that's a beautiful thing. That's a
that's what, but that taught me
correct.
to what going back to what you said earlier about knowing who to support, because everybody doesn't garner that. You can't support everybody. So
Hmm.
when I started seeing you
Oh, thank you.
building from the ground up, even before then, I found you before you really started doing it. I was like, she's cool.
Oh, thank you,
She's
thank
cool
you,
enough to
thank
just
you,
not
brother.
do it.
Thank you, thank you,
So I
thank
was like,
you.
I was like, she, I see you as a sister anyway. So I'm like, so but then I was like, oh, she's gonna do with this, and and I'm just like really starting to get into the cigar world myself. So I'm like, oh yeah, like this is a brand, and I want to get behind it, not because I want to just I'm gonna do a podcast.
Thank
I'm gonna
you.
no,
Thank
no, no.
you.
That just don't like if I said to myself, if I can support that child, I'm gonna support my sisters, and I'm gonna support my brothers. And so when I sent, I said, you know what? I made a mental note. I was like, oh, Mike, make sure you send those cigar lounges out to us, so that way she can know who she can
Yes,
connect with, et cetera, et
yes,
cetera.
yes, yes,
Because
yes.
one,
I expect nothing
if you
less.
decide to
I
come
expect
here,
nothing less.
I'm rocking with you.
Listen, and Sticks and Stones cigars, I want them everywhere,
Yo,
and I haven't been shy about saying it. The other interviews that I have been on, I don't care when, I don't care. A gas station, a man's bathroom, a woman's bathroom, any place, any place possible, that I want them everywhere. I want them to be in everybody's mouth, enjoying and just coming along the journey, coming along the ride, seeing how, where we start as a cigar brand and how we continue on to develop. Nothing is going to be perfect when you're just starting. These two blends, I spoke about them, as I said in other interviews before, and I spoke a little bit about them on my post. I'm starting off with two blends, and each blend has to come in two sizes. And I have a full body, and I have a medium to full. And one is called Mi Gente, which is my people, and it's a homage to my people. And the other is called La Esencia del Amor, and that
mm,
means the essence of love.
yep,
And that's homage to my love for the culture, and my love for the cigar enthusiasts, and for cigars, period. So these two are dedicated to that, and it was really important to me for my first um go around to be a reflection of what I'm passionate about. Um, and yeah, I love my final product. I put a lot of work into it, and I'm really passionate about. And it's listen, you what people don't understand about cigars is the complexity of it. That everyone has a different palate. People are like different things. So it's not going to hit everyone, but I think it's a cigar that everyone can smoke and appreciate. These two blends is something that everyone could, appreciate, whether you may like the notes or the tasting of
okay,
the cigar. If you're a cigar connoisseur, you're gonna know a good cigar from a poor value cigar. And I think whether or not, it's like a cooking show, right? You ever seen those competitions where people say, where people, sometimes the flavor's not just right, but the cook is good. So it's like, whether your palate is agreeable to the flavor, the cook is
yeah,
always good. The construction of these cigars are immaculate. So, for me, that's I have the most confidence is because everyone has a different palate.
right,
Everyone likes, certain things. So not every cigar is for everyone. I know I'm gonna have people who are gonna love them, and some people are gonna say, eh, and that's fine. But the one thing you can't deny, it's a well quality made cigar. So, that's one thing I wanted to be assured of. I put in a lot of time and effort, and not just myself.
yes,
Everyone who had a hand in this. You got to remember, you know, these cigars are not from a huge um corporation or a huge franchise brand or a brand itself. Not even franchise, but let me remove franchise. But a large, well-known brand farm. My master blender has well over 45 years
uh,
of experience. He's been doing this since he was a child. He's a family of nine, and this is a family-owned farm. And they by no means are living high on the hog. They are doing well to support their business, to support their family, to support the next generation. This is a generational. And the project that I'm working on, moving forward, is to highlight that. I want people to understand when they buying a Sticks and Stone cigar, they also supporting a family owned generational business that is the everyday Joe. Is the everyday Joe. It's not this multi-million dollar, you know, they're not this multi-million dollar farm. They are essentially like a mom and pops. A mom and pops that's staying afloat, a mom and pops that's been around for a long time, a mom and pops that has the love, the grit, that has, the richness
Yeah.
in the soil. That mom and pops that when you was a kid, they're around forever. They're they living their comfortability, but they're not high on the hog. They got a above ground pool, not an in ground pool. You know what I'm saying? So so that's part of that's the next step that I'm taking. I will be in DR. Um, I will be in DR soon
Really?
to work closely with them and with the master blender. I'm a firm believer that whatever you do, you should know the ins and outs of. It's like running a business. How could how don't you should know how your cash register works. You should know how to flip them burgers and cook those fries perfectly. You should know every aspect of your business and what you're doing.
Right.
And that's what and exactly that's exactly what I'm doing now. Like, I have a wealth of knowledge, but there's a lot of knowledge that I don't have. And for me, there's nothing like hands on. I'm a hands on kind of individual. I don't mind getting my hands dirty. I want to learn like, for instance, one of my cigars is a double wrap. What a lot of people don't know, it takes a very skillful blender and roller to successfully roll a double wrap um, successfully. Now, you can see when you get a chance and you go to cigar shops, look at the different double wraps. Not everyone knows how to do them well or do them accurately, properly. And I wasn't really aware of this, but when I learned and I understood the reasoning why, because you're blending two different wraps and how you're rolling them, and as far as being able to pick the right leaves and combination, everyone doesn't have that skill set. My master blender does, thank God. so so these are the things that I want to learn hands on. I want to be able to put the seed in the soil. I want to see go the step by step and just be able to feel the leaves in my hand and roll them myself and just have that continuous experience of being taught and developing my knowledge, so that I have a broader understanding and a broader appreciation of what it takes to make that one single cigar, let alone thousands. These are hand rolled. It's not machine manufactured. And I think that the educational aspect of not just the cigar culture, but cigars themselves is undervalued, and it's not fully present as much as it can be. And you know what? There are a lot of cigar enthusiasts who have a wealth of knowledge, and they have, there's some that have their pages. They're very successful. They give um step by step knowledge of the cigar themselves, and that I even plugged into. And I said, "Oh shoot, I didn't know that." And I'm so appreciative of it because you're sharing this knowledge with people, and yeah, I want to be able to expand my cigar encyclopedia. For you folks, that those are books that us older folks used to use to get information. That's our Google. That used to be our Google back in the day. Good old encyclopedias. Yes, yes, yes. And if you can't afford the whole thing, you just get like
Yeah,
A through
genius.
E or
Get
something like
yourself a
that.
stack of
Maybe.
encyclopedias. Remember the guys used to come by the house, say you. So yeah, yeah. So because
Yeah,
you just mentioned
there
something
are
that's very,
individuals who
very,
do
very
give
interesting to me. Is like
tutorials, and
and
share their
I thought
experience.
about this
And
before. Are there people out there
there's
who actually like
people who
give a
also have
class
who are
about
certified,
cigars?
as well. There are courses out here. I think that's great. I think it's great. I mean, I think certification is great for on a level of consumership and retail consumership. Is like um, it's like taking it's like taking a yoga class and knowing that your yoga instructor has a
Hmm.
certification for, you feel a sense of confidence that they know what they're talking about or they know what they're doing. But it doesn't take a certification for you to actually know what you're doing. I mean, my master blender, I'm pretty sure he has no certification hanging on his wall. His certification is he's been rolling since a child. His grandfather. I was just jamming to my background music. No worries. I figure. I started jamming to my background music over here. My clock is actually my clock is actually still the same. Hmm. No worries, no worries. If I'm still recording, we must still be recording. That's it. That's it. We pivoting. We're pivoting. But as I was saying, yeah, there are individuals out there. I think it's important who you learning from. Oh, your pause. You good? It's okay. So are you. I see you sideways too. That's all right. Long as, oh, there you go. Perfect. There you go. We back on. Yeah. You can't stop us. Can't stop us. We still going. We still going. That's right. We still going. Yeah, but anything else you want to hit? Yeah, they actually dedicate their entire social media presence on it, and they page that's what their wheelhouse is. And they're well known within the cigar community, which is I think is beautiful. Because to gain all this knowledge, that means you had to actively seek it out, and learn it and have a passion for it. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And I'm always appreciative when I learn something new from, these different individuals. I for some I can't get off the top of my head, but there are a few that I do follow. And I think they're just great. Um, I would like, you know, I was there was a comment that was told to me today, and I knew where it was coming from and why it was said. So, you know, the comment was made that, what I'm doing is ambitious, and, being is a saturated market. Hopefully, you know, I can, sticks and stones would be able to stand out in it. And I agree, it definitely is ambitious. I am an ambitious person. It definitely is a saturated market, as many products are in saturated markets. And my thought on standing out was, if I can't stand out in a saturated market, then I could create a space where I can stand out in. And I think that I'm not here to reinvent the wheel, but I'm definitely here to to make it better, to make it so that you can think outside the box. You can put a spin on tradition. You can, you could give a little panache to the foundation of the cigar culture and the community, and do it different. you know um and I'm not trying to, like I said, reinvent the wheel. And I don't want to dismiss the foundation of the cigar culture. However, there definitely needs to be there definitely needs to be more. It definitely needs more panache, more of a woman flair, and more of a woman of color flair. How about that? So, so yeah, back in the days, people equated cigars into being something that, only rich Caucasian men had access to, and they forget that there is a history, there is a deep-seated history of tobacco within our culture. Like, I grew up seeing beautiful women, beautiful dark skinned Latina women smoking cigars. This is nothing new. This is not new. It's just not known to the masses. There are many, exactly. There's several cultures. It's nothing new. Seeing a beautiful woman of color smoking a cigar is part of their culture, it's part of their history. It's part of our history. I mean, it's what was, it's how it was marketed. It was marketed as uh, I'm creating luxury for the everyday man and woman. How about that? That's why that's why my brand states it's an all inclusive brand for the cigar enthusiast because it is meant to include all. And that whole image that you need to be in a certain space in order to have a quality cigar needs to be demolished. To me, it created a separation that never really was there because I've seen as a kid, you know, the everyday Joe, the hard worker, smoke. He maybe wasn't smoking a $50 cigar or $20 cigar, but he was enjoying that good cigar. That was part of his relaxation. That was part of his day to day. That was, part of his lifestyle. So why don't we highlight that? Why don't we highlight that luxury doesn't have to cost an arm and a leg? Luxury doesn't have to be expensive. It has to be of quality. Hmm. Yes, as we should. Yeah, as we should. You know what? I think this is the thing. Every culture has their bit of panache, right? And none of it is right or wrong. I think it's what makes it beautiful. And to deny one over the other creates this separation that is completely unnecessary. Because that sense of panache is, you know, you don't want black and white all the time. You need a splash of color. Absolutely. And for me, it's always important to do it with class. Let's put our best foot forward. It is no there, there's no putting down. If you part of the shaking the booty and wanting to show that part of, if that's your context, fine. There's no putting that down. But there's a time and a place for everything. And the one thing that I want to always stand by is that you should always carry yourself with class. You can have a good time. You can look beautiful. You can, dress in a beautiful, sexy way. But let's keep it classy. Let's take it, let's take it to a time where, it's not okay to walk outside with your pajamas on and bonnets in your head. And and listen, and when I say that shit, I have a bonnet, I wear bonnet too. Shoot, you know what I mean? But you're not gonna catch me in the street with it. I'm just saying, it's people want to equate certain things to our black and brown culture, and I think it's a disservice to us because you're saying it's okay to go out in the street and not look like you gave a thought to how you are presenting yourself, how you are caring for yourself. It's about it. You could care less about what anyone says, but how do you feel? Like th- to me, you coming outside and you looking raggedy. You didn't care to even take that bonnet off or just put some leggings on rather than a pajama pants. You took out time to say, I want to present myself as I care about myself. Saying that going outside with a bonnet or having we call it a it's called a bata, that nightgown, like a nightgown. It's a Spanish bata is a Spanish like for a nightgown. Walking outside and going it's like, why do we want to equate that to our culture? That we want to look like hot messes. Show some pride. It doesn't take a lot. One thing that my grandmother always told me was, and you know what? She grew up poor, and we didn't grow. Listen, we didn't have a lot growing up, but the one thing she always told us: just because you poor doesn't mean you gotta look raggedy. You don't need to have designer brand on. You don't need to, have all these, you don't need to have all these brands that don't care a licking about you to show you care for yourself. All it takes is just some self-care in your appearance. Showing that if I see you, listen, I would give another woman a compliment in a hot minute. I see a woman, she's looking beautiful. She took the time to. I say, girl, you look gorgeous. I love your hair. I love that dress looks beautiful on you. There is nothing like seeing our people looking just beautiful, just taking care of themselves. Just like, why are you walking around in the street with your pants hanging off your butt? Like, I mean, we could do a whole podcast on that. And I mean, like the whole background story, everything, and then wonder why certain people look at you a certain way. Thank you. Yes. Listen, to me, however, listen, however you choose to wear your treasures, however you choose, that is your choice. But you have to also understand that just because it is your choice doesn't mean that everyone is going to perceive you in the way of who you are. If you walking out here and you talking a certain way and you behaving a certain way and you presenting yourself a certain way, how else anybody, what are you showing? What is the image that you're giving to others? This is the perception that you are giving to others. And it's not about caring what people think about you, but it's the reality that we live in a society. And we live in a society that your impression matters. How you're perceived matters. Plain and simple. We all have certain prejudices. We all have certain perceptions. And you know what? And no, it's not to come out here to dress for someone else, but it's to give yourself that self respect to show who you are. If you're, why not put your best foot forward? The same energy that you putting in to, you know, to looking unkept is the same kind of energy you could put in to just simply say, you know what? I have love for myself. I have self-respect for myself. And therefore, this is how I'm going to present myself. It'll be, we just don't live in that kind of world. We just don't live in that kind of world where, we can go outside with bonnets or bandanas on our head in a bata or in our pajama pants and be perceived as, you know um we have some we have some sense of self love and self respect, or we're not ghetto. That's just reality. That's just realistic. And it's a shame because, you know, there are many other cultures that teach the younger generation, that continuously teach even the present generation, the younger generation, just that, and teach them how to navigate through this society. Like so why is it that within our culture there's difficulties in passing that along to our younger generation, saying that's not okay. Don't this is pick your pants up and tighten up your belt and cut the nonsense out. I'm all for self expression. I really am. I'm all for it. However, you got to understand that there's a level of consequences because you live in a society that's a mixture of different cultures and different humans. I can't take you seriously. I just can't. I can't take you seriously because all that screams to me is you don't, or you don't care about yourself. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what it, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. 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 Yeah. Absolutely. Or you got dealt with at that moment, and then when you went home, you got dealt with again. So things weren't flying, and God forbid if that happens nowadays, forget about it. You know, that's a whole other spiel. That's a whole other spiel. God forbid if that happens nowadays. I mean, and this is the thing, like, that's why in our generation we was built tough. We was built tough because we was given a certain set of standards of how you're not going to be. And if you did behave a certain way, there was consequences. And I think a lot of people fail to understand that your actions have consequences, whether they're positive or negative, but they have consequences. And there are too many people out here who are not paying the consequence for their poor behavior, you know, um, and lack of structure. Um, Simply showing up and being neat in your appearance and showing that you have care in your appearance simply shows that you have enough care to show up to this interview, to come properly prepared and dressed because you want this job, you know, and you're willing to do what is you're willing to put in the work to get this job and to keep it. So that's the message that you want to give, employers. If I mean, honestly, a lot of people are not in a position, the majority of society are not in a position you know, um, to be so carefree, to show up to work in sweatpants and Crocs and, and that nature. And if you are, God bless you. God bless you if you are in that position. God bless you. But even the individual, but even the individual who is running a Fortune 500 company still has to present themselves in a way at some point in time that they have to be properly dressed, so that they have, because they, like I said, we don't have the luxury to live in such a carefree society. It's you still have to, everything is about a sell. Everything in life is about sell. You're selling yourself at some point, you're selling the product, you're selling the idea, you're selling the concept. Everything is a sale. And how do you sell? By making someone believe in what you are selling. And you know the way that you do that is by presentation. How you present yourself. you know you know you're passionate about something, you're showing that passion, you're giving that passion. People are not going to take the time to know who you are if your presentation sucks. Why would they? Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that, that, we're in an age of where people are hungry for authenticity. I think that they're so hungry for it that they they don't. It's like when you're foraging, right? You're so hungry, and something could be right in front of your face, and you don't see it because you're so hungry for it. And I think we're at a tipping point of the delusional to to what we perceive is real. And I think people want to see more. It's like the manufactured bodies. To each their own. I put no woman down, no man down. Each their own. However, where do we skip the point of being mentally and emotionally healthy, physically healthy, where we can say, I love who I am and where I'm at and how I look. And if there's something about me that putting in the work, you know what I mean? Putting in the actual work to improve yourself. Everyone, each their own, however you choose to look, how you want to look. You know what? I feel that there is a disconnect between our mental and physical and emotional health. Um, and I think people are getting, to the state of where they're like, enough is enough with, the manufactured um bodies. Like where's the cellulite and the stretch marks? And as to some point, people were like, oh, cellulite stretch marks. I mean, that's not true. I mean, it happens. That's what's real. Um, and I think I kind of see that tipping point where people are like, all right, enough of the manufacturer. Where's the real stuff at? And that just shows me, and I could be wrong, that just shows me that people are just hungry for more authenticity. And I think if we become less afraid to show who we are, to really sit with ourselves, and then put put that effort into yourself, to yourself, your wellness, your self love, your self care, mentally, physically, emotionally, so that we can produce better human beings. You know, yeah, yeah, of course it is. Listen, those are warrior scars. You either got them because you birthed life, or you gained weight, you lost it, whatever the case is. That journey right there has a story. Those marks have stories behind them. Those are warrior marks. Amen. Right, 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 right. Amen. Amen. Preach it. Preach it. Listen, preach. Preach it. Yes. Yes. I think too. Yeah. Yeah, man. Listen, yes, absolutely. I learned that. I worked with a majority of men for many years, and the things that I've learned from them within conversation, and the openness and the candidness. I learned that you know I can only speak for women, but we get so caught up in the superficial aspect of our aesthetics, because that's what we've been shown by society, by a certain concept within society, that you should be looking a certain way, that you need to be this, you need to be that. If you don't fit into this box, you're not good enough, or you don't look good enough. And you know I think people went down that rabbit hole and forgot to nurture themselves. Like I said, nurture yourself mentally, emotionally, and physically, and be healthy there. Gain a healthy outlook, and our bodies, and who we are as women. And all cultures are different, and therefore we shape differently. And to how to appreciate ourselves, even men too. There's a lot of pressure, on men as well. And listen, I'm not advocating for anyone to walk around and to be, unhealthy, and to be overly obese and you're unhealthy. Now there's people who are big and have certain conditions and or they are healthy and there's all different body types. The one thing I will always say is let's promote being our best self. Let's promote evolving into our best selves so that we can give this type of perspective, outlook, lifestyle to the next generation. We're not perfect, we're human, we flawed, but you know what? It's never too late to make improvements. It's never too late to learn new ways and and pass that down. So there is so there we're ridden with a huge mentally unstable population. And you're a medical professional, and I think a lot of these things are being overlooked. And within our community and our culture, it's sad to see that people get written off when they have you know mental instability, disabilities, or issues, um but having a manufactured body is more important. Mhm. Mhm. Correct. Indeed. 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 And you know what? And you know what? Not to interrupt, but you know what? It may not be the most healthiest form, but it damn sure is a nice relaxation having a really great cigar. Having a really great cigar, having a sticks and stone cigar, guys. I'm telling you, it's gonna take you to a nice mental relaxation zone. You're gonna give yourself some time to breathe, to think, and enjoy. It may not, yes, it may not be the healthiest, but in moderation, listen, it gives you some nice, it will allow you to have mental health when you have that nice downtime. Oh, thank you. I've had a good time. Thank you. Thank you. We talked about so many things. Thank you. Oh, I love that. I love that verse. I love that verse. All right. I love that. I love that. It was a pleasure, brother. I'm glad we did this. When I have the release date, hopefully we could do this again so I could properly introduce um, my Latino and Black owned cigar brand to your audience and share. Shoot, shoot. Sounds good. Sounds good. Sounds good. Sounds good. Sounds good. That's a deal. I like that idea. I definitely like that idea. Sounds good. Sounds good. Absolutely. Absolutely. You guys gotta come out to one of my events and you could see me in my natural habitat and and enjoy and see what I do. Nice. Beautiful. Beautiful. The fastest way you could at least meet your cigar enthusiast is by going to, one of your cigar lounges. If you wanna get um, you know, more so like your neighborhood cigar lounge, because those are the people that are from the area who are coming to those going to those lounges. The ones that those are the ones that are patronizing in the lounges. And I think that's the most effective way of knowing who's who and introducing yourself. You're new to the cigar community, as you said, and find you know visit a few because it's all about the vibe and the energy that you get. Every lounge has a different vibe and energy, and it's one that's going to resonate with you, and you want to be in a space that resonates with you, how you feel when you come in, you treat it like family, or you treat it like a good friend, and you're just not a customer, but you're an appreciated patron. And I think it'll be a nice space because especially if it's a small business, you'd be surprised how people are open in you coming in and doing a podcast, doing an interview, sitting down with the owner and saying, hey, I would like to do a podcast. I would like to do an interview with you. Talking about how long you've been a part of the community. When did you get into, the cigar business and the culture and certain things like that. And that's how you get to know. That's how you really get to know. people within the community, within the cigar community, and they get to know you. And hence there goes a space being created. And then you let me know and I come on down and be like, oh, I'm gonna go visit Mike's cigar, the lounge that Mike likes to go to. Let me see what's up. I think it's always a beautiful thing, man, when you could surround yourself by people who enjoy a pastime that you enjoy, and you can have great conversation, great energies. And I think that's what the culture is about. You know, it's just having that commonality that you all love a nice smoke and you come together as a brotherhood, as a sisterhood, you know? So I think it's a beautiful thing. But yeah, I urge you to do it. And it's something that you can open that space up for your podcast as well. Good. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what it's about. It's a place to go and just de-stress. And the kind of conversations that you have, the kind of ideas that will flow, I'm telling you, it will spark a lot of ideas within you. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Absolutely. I'll definitely let you know ahead of time. Yeah, I would love to meet your wife. Yep, absolutely. There's actually, when that happens, there'll actually be a good friend of mine. He has a podcast. Check it out. It's called Cigar Connections. His name is Joel Crooms. And exactly what I talked about when I said supporting entrepreneurs, so highlighting, black and brown own businesses. That's exactly what Joel does. He's a great. Not only he's perfecting his craft and his podcast. He's a great interviewer and he's a really all around good guy. Like that's my brother. He's a really good guy. And my very first interview a year ago, a little over a year ago, was with him, and it was great. I loved it, and we're gonna do another one. We're gonna do another one. But yeah, check him out. You would love you would love his podcast. You see what his structure and his concept of what he's doing. And he's just a good dude, and that's someone that I would definitely like for you to meet in person. I mean, the ideas that will flow will be a beautiful sight to see. Indeed, you on the road, guys. You on the road. You on a roll. You on a roll. You're gonna have many, 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 many other great interviews. You're gonna have many other great interviews. Hello, Evan. It's nice to meet you. Hi. Hi, handsome. Handsome guy. Handsome. Handsome. Oh, I love that. Thank you, Evan. Thank you. I love that. I love that. That's awesome, man. Thank you. Thank you for introducing me to your fam. Thank you. Hello, hello, boss lady, the queen of the house. Yes, I love that. But your backbone. That's what you need. That's what you need. It makes you better. It makes you better. But brother, it was a pleasure. Thank you. Absolutely. 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 I'll definitely let you know ahead of time. I'll contact you directly. And whenever you could come, it'd be greatly appreciated. So all the support will be greatly appreciated. Definitely. For sure. So let me know when this is up. I have added the link on to the post that I put up today. So yeah, so whatever I guess whatever you decide to advertise, tag me in it, or send me, and I'll put it up too. I want people to be able to go on your page and go onto the podcast so you could continue to grow with your followers. We could continue to grow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Absolutely. Absolutely. Teamwork makes the dream work, brother. Thank you so much again. I had a blast. Thank you. You guys have a wonderful night. Of course. Of course. Blessing to your family, man. We'll talk soon.